So thank you for joining me about the local tax rates, and I will keep this as concise as I can. But if you go back to the other one about the local funding formula, so one of the things that is unique about Jefferson R-VII with the local funding, and these are school districts that are either hold harmless or like in us where we got 80% local funds. So if you're kind of state funded, you kind of know your income. You get a steady amount all year long, which, as crazy as it sounds, makes a huge difference, as I've learned in this job of paying our staff and making everything work, because school districts that are state funded kind of have a steady stream of revenue throughout the whole year. They kind of do this when they get their local in the middle of the year, primarily December, January, and February, when you get your local funds in from the county. Jefferson, we're much lower, and then December hits, January and February, it really jumps up, and that's kind of it. There's not a steady stream of funds that come in every month for us that really keep us stable. So what's that mean for you as a taxpayer? There's something out there that we have to be cognizant of, and that is making sure we aren't falling below a number we can meet our payroll, because our in the past, if your reserves are not high, because you're drawing from your reserves to make payroll until you get that huge influx of cash. So if your reserves aren't high, you can't pay your staff. It's just that simple. So the district has a goal, it's in our CSIP plan, of maintaining 28% higher in reserves at all times to avoid what's called TANs, or tax anticipation notice. And basically you're borrowing money just to make your payments. You're kind of wasting money because you have to pay all that interest back in a short term just to make your payments. We've not had that in a long time. There was a period of time, I think around 2012-ish, to around 2015, then our reserves got to a point we didn't have to do the TANs anymore. So right now we're sitting at a very healthy 39%. So when we talk about reserves and like we have money sitting there, why don't you use it? Well, because for Jefferson R-VII, it's a little different. We need those reserves to make our payments until we get that influx of cash in, so we're not having to waste money on what's called TANs. What we've been able to do for several years, I think it's 10 plus years, is maintain the tax rate at 4.5967. What does that mean for you? You haven't seen in the tax rate in a long time a change in that, and we've held very steady in that. Even with the Ameren plant closure looming, we have our reserves built up enough. We know there's some moves we can make to not have to come to you quickly with a closure. The worst case scenario, Ameren closes and James Hardy's either delayed and those monies don't come in for a while, that we would need to come back to you and say we need it. But I don't see that in the near future. That would be down the road. I feel pretty confident that things are moving. I think James Hardy comes on at some point here in the next couple of years, and there's also a serious evaluation of what to do with the Ameren property, and Boots of Unisom's growing. Our local evaluation just in general with housing is growing. So instead of having that one big decline and no hope for the future, that's not Jefferson R-VII. There's such a bright future here. It's really about managing the next few years with the Ameren closure, the James Hardy coming online, and even seeing what happens with the Ameren properties. If we could catch a break there, the properties themselves hold immense value. There's a railroad. There's still a lot of lines that hit a bunch of different grids, for lack of a better term, still hold value to Ameren. So we're hoping that Ameren will have a presence down there, but the coal plant is going away. So that being said, we work with a great partner in LJ Hart, who works with us in our bonding. They help us with our Fund 3. I'm not going into those great details. You can go check our board meetings. That's pretty boring stuff, but we work together very closely to protect your tax rates and make sure you as a taxpayer are protected, and that we keep our district moving forward. That's the long and short of it. We generally roll back every year. That is what this little chart is here for you. It's kind of a complicated process. If you feel like you need more information, you can call me. We'll sit down and do the best I can to explain it, because it is sort of a complicated process. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of laws and triggers in there that you look at, and it does make sense of what we're trying to do. But for you, the daily consumer, just getting your tax bill, we've held that tax rate firm in place for a long time. And I don't see that changing in the next few years. And like I said, we're not a community that's losing the one thing that's really kept us going. There's two corporations out there now that are active. That's Ameren and Bootsy Unisum, and a third coming. It's a environment. We don't have any local government. It's an interesting place. Jefferson R-VII is a truly interesting place when it comes to school finance. The future is bright. I think if I can do nothing for this district during my time here is just to create as much stability as I can during trying to figure out the Ameren closure, Hardy coming online, and if something even comes back with Ameren down there, no matter how it looks, how that affects us. So we look at this stuff a lot. We think about the taxpayer and maximizing the funds we get. I think you'll see that in the other podcast as well, trying to be efficient with your monies. But thanks for joining me on this, and hope you check out the others. Thank you.